My name is Gerard Beloin. I'm running as a write-in candidate for the United States Senate in New Hampshire, and I approve this message.
Mr. President, I wanted to rise to respond to some attacks relative to my integrity. It implies, obviously, that I am inconsistent in my views. Last year's budget had a $736 billion tax increase in it. That meant that 47 million Americans would get hit with $2,700 more taxes. 18 million senior citizens would get hit with $2,100 more taxes. 24 million small businesses would get hit with $4,100 more taxes. And 7.8 million Americans who don't pay taxes today because they are low-income individuals would end up being taxed. This year it's going to be worse, quite honestly. The tax increases in this budget, I project, will be somewhere in the vicinity of $1.3 trillion. So this will be a debate about the classic difference between the two parties. We believe in fiscal discipline. We believe that people should be able to keep their tax dollars. We don't believe that you should dramatically increase taxes on working Americans. And we do believe that you should control spending. They've proven by last year's budget that they don't believe in any of that. They believe in a bigger government costing the American people more. And that's what the debate will be about. First off, I want to congratulate the leader, Senator McConnell, and Senator Reid for moving this so quickly and moving it in a bipartisan way. And I thank Senator Dodd for his very bipartisan approach to how we evolved this package. I think it's important to appreciate the fact that Main Street is at severe distress here and at severe risk. And this package has been structured to try to protect the interest of taxpayers as well as address the needs to increase credit in our communities. And there are 4 or 5 areas where this package improved dramatically as a result of the efforts of the Congress at the table with the Secretary of Treasury. First, it has strong taxpayer protection. Every dollar that we bring in from these investments that we're going to make, and remember, this is not money out the window. We're buying assets, and we're going to resell those assets, and we're probably going to make some significant dollars. Every dollar goes to reduce the federal debt. Secondly, people will not be allowed to game the system. There will not be golden parachutes. There will not be high compensation in the sense that it'll get special tax treatment. In fact, it'll get negative tax treatment. So we've addressed the high compensation golden parachute area. Thirdly, we want to make sure that people stay in their homes. And we're going to end up with a fair amount of mortgage paper as a federal government. And we have structured this agreement so that we are going to work very hard to make sure that foreclosures do not occur where people can pay a reasonable price to maintain their mortgage and stay in their home. This proposal, as it came from the Treasury, was simple, with a purpose of basically going forward with a significant amount of taxpayers' dollars. This is not $700 billion out the window. And taking those dollars and buying investments. That's an important point to remember here, because there's been a lot of misrepresentation, regrettably demagoguery and hyperbole, about how we are throwing money at Wall Street. That's not the case. What is happening here is that we will be purchasing assets, assets that have value. And the federal taxpayer will own those assets. And down the road, we will probably sell those assets, and we will actually get money back in for the taxpayer into the federal treasury, and we may actually break even. We may lose some money. But it's more likely, in my opinion, that we will come close to breaking even, and we may actually, some people tell us, make money for the taxpayer. But this is not $700 billion out the window. This is not $700 billion out the window. $700 billion out the window. $700 billion out the window.
Along with CNBC chief commentator Bill Seaman, who led the Resolution Trust Corporation back in the 1980s. Welcome to both of you. Senator Gregg, are you happy with how the TARP is progressing right now?
Well, happy would be a difficult term to use in this economy. Yeah. But I do think the Secretary of Treasury and the Chairman of the Fed are moving appropriately. I believe the decision to inject capital was the right decision.
Senator Gregg, Bill Seaman has a question for you.
You know, if you look back at TARP and at their asset buying plan, it doesn't look to me like that ever would have worked. It looked to me like they spent a lot of time on something that they really didn't take a hard look at, and that's got to be marked down as a real mistake.
$700 billion out the window. $700 billion out the window. Thank you for taking this rather extraordinary step of asking me to join your administration as Commerce Secretary. You've outlined an extraordinarily bold and aggressive effective, and comprehensive plan for how we can get this country moving. The President asked me to join his administration, and I look forward to it with enthusiasm.
Right. So will you be voting then?
No, actually, I've recused myself from voting during the pendency of my nomination.
What are you going to do here? You're going to go out and sell something that you fundamentally have worked against for 25 years?
No. I'm going to support something that I think makes sense. And I'm a fiscal conservative, as everybody knows, fairly strong one. $700 billion out the window. And I immensely respect him, and I know he's going to be a strong and effective and good president. And I do believe, genuinely, that I can be even more effective for this presidency in the Senate. There are going to be a lot of issues on which I'm going to want to jump in on and carry his water here in the Senate and hopefully be successful, because there are a lot of things that have to get done. And I'm willing to work to do that. We're talking about a deficit in the $1 trillion range for as far as the eye can see. If we maintain the proposals which are in this budget over the 10-year period that this budget covers, this country will go bankrupt.
The far right are knocking off people like Bob Bennett out in Utah, going after people across the board in your party, saying TARP was evil.
Well, they're wrong. The simple fact is that TARP did what it was supposed to do. It basically saved the financial system on Main Street, and actually gave people a safer and sounder financial system. This is Judd Gregg, and I'm proud to support Kelly Ayotte for the United States Senate.
I'm Kelly Ayotte, and I approve this message.
My name is Gerard Beloin. I'm running as a write-in candidate for the United States Senate in New Hampshire, and I approve this message.